welcome to this third chapter of a series of webinars, integrating the requirements management into your ALM ecosystem. In this chapter, we will demonstrate how to integrate Visure Requirements and Microsoft Team Foundation Server. We will establish the links between requirements and development tasks, and even with changes in the source code. During today's webinar, we will introduce the need for an integrated ALM platform and the most common pitfalls that we have seen when trying to set it up. We will also introduce our open solution and explore its benefits, and we will demonstrate a use case scenario integrating Visure Requirements and Microsoft Team Foundation Server. Okay, so we should ask ourselves if we are able to provide answers to these kind of questions in our projects. Well, companies developing software and systems use application lifecycle management tools to coordinate and automate their processes. But the only way to answer these cross-discipline or cross-tool questions, which are, by the way, key to business success, is having an integrated environment so that artifacts from different tools can be linked and analyzed together. If not, we can only guess the implementation or testing status of my requirements, notify manually my engineers when a new change request has been entered, etc. We need to take control of our projects and be able to respond to these kind of questions so that we can make better business decisions. Well, the first common pitfall when establishing an ALM environment that we have seen sometimes is to try and use a tool to serve other disciplines. For example, Microsoft Team Foundation Server. It is a good project planning tool, so we're probably comfortably using it in our projects, and we know that it is tempting to extend it to be used also for requirements management. Well, even though we can create a work item type requirement and customize its attributes, our engineers will start asking for specific features regarding requirements management, such as comparing versions, generate document specifications, or perform complex traceability and impact analysis. Therefore, we can end up creating customizations or scripts that we will have to maintain over time. We will realize later that it would have been much cheaper to actually buy a requirements management tool. So well, this is the first pitfall that we have seen, but the next step may be using specific tools for each discipline, requirements management, quality management, etc., and write identifiers in trace matrices or somewhere maybe in text attributes or Excel files. This is obviously not good because a lot of manual tasks are involved, which are obviously subject to errors. We should let the technology do the hard job and let us work efficiently instead of manually. Well, so let's assume that we have finally decided that we need an integrated platform. So we ask our software vendor for integrations, and we are glad, we're happy because the tool we need to integrate with is in the list. So we are immediately ready to buy and deploy it. Well, we should choose wisely. If we spend a lot of time evaluating tools, making sure that they adapt to our needs, etc., well, considering that integration points are equally important, why don't we evaluate them in deep as well? Take into account that some integrative ALM platforms provide fixed integrations, and once we have acquired the solution, we may realize that the integration capabilities do not work as we expected they do, and we are not able to generate the deliverables we need or keep working following our processes. Okay, so remember that not all integrations or ALM platforms support all integration scenarios. Therefore, we need an open and flexible platform like your Open ALM platform by Visure. This platform is capable of adapting to our existing processes and tools and not the other way around. With your Open ALM platform by Visure, we should be able to create our own comprehensive ALM by keeping our existing practices, process, and tools, but taking advantage of all the benefits of having a tightly integrated ALM solution. While this platform can be used for integrating tools, but also for exchanging data or migrating from a third-party solution. Your Open ALM platform by Visure is fully configurable in terms of data flow direction between tools, allowing bidirectional integrations, and also custom mapping of attributes, relationships, attachments, etc., so that it adapts to your specific processes. The list of tools available to be integrated with is very extensive, so please don't hesitate to contact us for further information, or if you don't see the tool you want to integrate with in this list. Okay, so before going to the demonstration, let's discuss first a bit of the benefits of using your open integrated platform by Visure. First of all, having full visibility over the whole project from the inception to implementation, testing, and maintenance phase, we can assess the impact of a change in all related artifacts so that we will be able to provide better estimations and having control of the project over its life cycle. The second one is improve quality by complying with standards and also enhance customer satisfaction by breaking down the developer and customer barrier. Third one, of course, make better decisions based on metrics, not on feelings or intuition. The fourth one, well, obviously, enable collaboration. So now distributed teams can work efficiently by sharing the same platform and having access to up-to-date information of all related artifacts. And last but not least, save time by eliminating manual tasks and also meetings or training time by making use of the tools that are best for the job and establishing the connection points between those tools seamlessly using our platform. Okay, so let's demonstrate an integration scenario. In this case, it will be linking requirements to development tasks and changes in the source code. We will use Visure Requirements and Microsoft Team Foundation Server for that. Well, when working in a software development project, we have to deal sometimes with customers, salesmen, regulations, the IT department, product manager, project management, etc. We all know that sometimes business and IT are not so well aligned. So we need to make sure that we are compliant with what the customer requested when we are creating tasks and fitting them in our project plan. The only way to be 100% sure is aligning your product requirements, this is the what needs to be implemented, with your project management. This is the how will be implemented. Well, this list represents only some of the most common use cases scenarios when integrating requirements and project management tools. This is why we stated at the beginning that not all integrations support all use cases, and why we should consider an open and flexible ALM platform capable of adapting to our needs. During the following demonstration, we will focus on linking software requirements to development tasks and changes in the source code to keep track of the implementation status of those requirements. Okay, so let's go to the interesting part of this presentation. Let's consider the following scenario. Peter, our product manager, will use Visure requirements to create software requirements in the system specification based on customer input or from the different stakeholders. Those requirements will be automatically exported to Microsoft Team Foundation Server, and Kevin, or project manager, or Scrum Master, if we are working in an agile environment, this integration scenario is independent of the process or template you're using. So Kevin will provide an estimation of effort and will assign Mark as the developer responsible for implementing the required changes to complete the task. Mark will use Microsoft Visual Studio to check the tasks assigned to him and implement the changes to complete the new tasks that Kevin, the product manager, created. All this information should flow back to the requirements tool to quickly identify the development tasks to be able to assess the implementation status of each requirement. So how can we work following this process in our integrated environment? So let me go directly to the demonstration. So let's log in Visure requirements as Peter. You remember Peter is the product manager involved in the development of a surgical imaging system. This is our meta model or data model of the project. Well, as we can see here, we have some user requirements. These user requirements may come from different stakeholders or different sources of information. It can be customers, marketing, standards, and business rules, just as an example. And these user requirements will be satisfied by a detailed system specification. We have another level of decomposition here, which is the subsystem requirements. We have also the tests in the right side of this V cycle. Based on the subsystem requirements, we will have, some of them will be software requirements and other ones will be mechanical requirements, maybe also electrical requirements or any kind of, or any type of requirement. And the idea is that using our integration hub, we will create development tasks in Microsoft Team Foundation Server to implement those software requirements. So we will export the software requirements to TFS, and we will create some tasks in TFS so that they will be imported back into Visure, and we will have this relationship between both. Okay, so let me go to the subsystem specification, because remember that I, as Peter, as the product manager, I am the one managing the subsystem specification, have software requirements, but also mechanical requirements, etc. Okay, so let's assume that we will create a new software requirement here. Okay, let's assume that that I want to include the corporate, in fact, the new corporate logo in all screens. So corporate logo will be the name of this requirement, and the description will be the new corporate logo shall be included in all screens. Good. The priority will be medium. And let me also display the properties here, because what I will also do is I will attach a file here. So let me associate a new file, which is the logo itself that marketing provided, the new logo. Okay, great. So that's it. Let me check the changes in. You can also provide a comment or a reason for that. We should include the new logo according to marketing. So that's it. So right now, in the background, as I speak, our integration manager should be exporting this software requirement to Microsoft Team Foundation server as a requirement, as a type requirement. So I go to the surgical imaging. So let's assume that I'm now Darwin. Darwin, if you remember, is the project manager here. Let me go to the work items list. I will go to the all work items query. Okay, so there you go. The 25, the requirement 25 has been created. This is the corporate logo. Okay, all this is possible because we have running in the background Ops Hub Integration Manager. It is the integration hub we are using in this demonstration. So the idea is that you can see it's a web interface. You can have as many integrations as you want with many different systems. So we have in here the Visure requirements to TFS mapping. So as you can see, it's fully configurable. So I'm exporting the requirements from Visure requirements to TFS. We have the attribute mapping here, even with some values mapping here. For instance, for the priority, have said that the medium is 2 will be mapped as 2, low as 4, high as 1. So if I go to Microsoft Team Foundation server, let's take a look to this new requirement that has been automatically imported from Visure requirements using our integration manager. You can see the description. We can see the priority. It is 2 according to the medium priority in Visure requirements. And we also have the attachment here, which is the file, the attached file itself. So it's good. You can exchange as much information as needed. Okay, great. So now as Darwin, my responsibility is to create development tasks to start developing this, to include this corporate logo in all screens. So what I will do is I will create a new linked work item. In particular, it will be a child task related to this requirement. So let's say implement the required changes to include new logo in all screens. Okay, so let me create it. Let's save and close it. Good. So now the task has been created and linked to the corresponding requirement. When I double-click it, I see the details. And well, let's assume that now as I'm the project manager, I need a team to start working on this. So the first thing I will provide is an estimation of effort. Let's assume that this will take 24 hours. This is an example. Okay, so the remaining work is obviously 24. And I will assign Mark to be the developer. And I will change the state to active because I want him to start working as soon as possible. Right? So let me save the task. And as soon as I save the task, this task should be being imported in Visure requirements. If I go to the Ops Hub Integration Manager and I take a look to the data mapping for exporting from TFS to Visure requirements, I can see that this time we are also adding some more information, such as the original estimate, the remaining work, and etc. And also the relationship to the original requirement. So let me go to Visure requirements again. Remember that I am Peter. I manage the subsystem specification, but what I can do as well is accessing one of these views that I have pre-created. This is a list of the software requirements and the linked development tasks. So I can see for each software requirement the development tasks created in Microsoft Team Foundation Server to implement those tasks. So, well, this is a relationships by motive view, so we are displaying the relationships in a hierarchical way. We have selected the implemented by. If you remember the previous diagram, it is implemented by the relationship type between our software requirement and task. Okay, so this is the new requirement that I created. So eventually, the Ops Hub Integration Manager should export the information, the task from Team Foundation Server to Visure Requirements. So let me press F5, and okay, it's great. So the task has been automatically created. So I don't need to navigate to Team Foundation Server to see that it is marked the one assigned to it. The estimation is 24 hours. It is active, so it's just great. I can also see if I want, if I go to the properties, I can also display the URL of the correspondent work item created in Team Foundation Server. So I can navigate to the third-party tool in case I need it to see the full description of it. Okay, so well, we have created a task and assigned it to Mark. So let's assume now that I am Mark. So I work with Microsoft Visual Studio. And what I will do is, well, every morning when I get in the office, I check for new work items assigned to me. So let me double-click this query. Okay, I can see that there is a new task which is active, and well, they are asking me to implement the required changes. Oh, sorry, it's a type here. The required changes to include the new logo in all screens. Okay, so let me double-click it. Well, I may need additional information here. So if I want to navigate to the original requirement, the requirement that originated this task, okay, I can see that the new corporate logo shall be included in all screens. I can see that it has an attachment. So let me open it, because in fact I will use it for my development. Will save the image as new logo, and I will save it directly in my workspace. This is my local code. Okay, new logo. Good. So if I go to the Source Control Explorer, this is surgical imaging workspace. I have some files here, an HTML file and the old logo. Okay, let's assume that I want to include or to add items to a folder. This is the new logo that I have just added to the folder, and I also may need to modify the HTML files. So let me check it out for edit, and I will go to the source code folder here. We'll edit it with Notepad to reference to the new logo here. Let me close saving changes. Okay, good. So we are now ready to check in all these pending changes. This is adding a file and editing the existing HTML file. We'll provide a comment for this change. Okay, so implemented changes to include new logo. And what I will also do is to drag and drop the work item, the task assigned to me. So drag and drop it here. So this way I am associating the the task with this change set, with this pending changes, and at the same time I'm also resolving it. So the state will change from active to resolved. So let me check the changes in. Okay, great. New change set has been created. If I refresh the view, you can see that it's now resolved. If I double click it, okay, in the history, if I refresh it as well, I can see the change set, the new change set created to implement those changes, and also my comment here. All this information can obviously be seen in the web client, in the TFS web client. So it is now resolved, and there it is, the new comment with the change set ID. Okay, so I should be able to navigate and see the corresponding changes in the source code. So what is good of our integration is that we will also export all this information back to Visure Requirements. So if I go to the view again, eventually all this information will change. So it should appear from active to completed. So let me press F5 here. That's it. So it is now completed. So what is good of this integration is that in the background, in a completely transparent way for the users, all the information is exported and imported. And now that all the information is within the database, I can analyze as much as I want. So I may want to, for instance, display a full traceability view. And this way I can analyze from the highest level of requirements or change requests or business rules, like in this case, to the system requirements, to the subsystem requirements, this is the software requirements, and even with the correspondent development tasks to implement those changes. I can also display some attributes. All this is coming from Microsoft Team Foundation Server. Okay, if I analyze some other relationships, I can also check the test status of the related requirements, so you can also do test coverage independently if those test cases are managed within Visure Requirements or in a third-party tool such as HP Quality Center. So it's really good. I can also, for instance, display a report. Again, now that information is in the database, I can analyze it as much as I find appropriate. This report, for instance, will calculate the sum of the children tasks corresponding to the requirement, or just as an example, the sum of total effort here for the whole project, as the sum of the effort of all, at least the estimated effort of all implementation tasks from Microsoft Team Foundation Server. Okay, so that was basically it. Let me summarize a bit what we have seen today. So your Open ALM by Visure can help us to provide real collaboration, ensuring full visibility and information sharing, as we have seen with the full traceability analysis. So we can really assess the impact of a change, and we can, let's say, eliminate the silos of information between all departments. Using this platform, we will save time by automating repetitive tasks and improving quality by providing full traceability from the high-level change request to the source code and the test cases. So that's it. In upcoming chapters of this series of webinars, we will also demonstrate other integration scenarios, such as Visure Requirements with modeling tools, with Enterprise Spark Enterprise Architect. The first chapter was integrating Visure Requirements with Atlassian Jira, and the second one was about integrating Visure Requirements on HP Quality Center. So don't hesitate to visit our website or our YouTube channel to access to all these to all these recordings.